good evening, and welcome. Tonight we will be going over the history and geography of Aveiro in Portugal. As you can see by the map, Aveiro has a very long coastline here on the Atlantic Ocean, and what makes this coastline very special is right here. This is the Aveiro Lagoon, which is very important to its history, and we'll talk more about it later. And you can see the city of Aveiro situated right there. It's a very, very kind of diverse landscape, actually, because we have this beautiful coastline with the beaches. We have a more kind of Central Valley area here with some pretty lush farmland, and then here along the border we have the northern Meseta mountain range just running through about like right here. So you kind of have a little bit of everything in this region. And to be quite honest, I did not find a lot of information about the areas, or the towns I should say, in the surrounding area. It was pretty much all about the city of Aveiro, which is fine. I can tell you all about it. And I figure the rest is just little villages and little farming communities, nothing too major historically. So we're just going to mainly talk about the city of Aveiro, which has a very short but sweet history, or should I say salty history. Because Aveiro was pretty much established by the Romans as a salt industry city. Well, I wouldn't call it like a city back then. It was a little outpost way out here in the Iberian Peninsula, so far from the rest of Rome, but it was set up to harvest salt. And that's very, very important because it is still a very large salt, farming industry today. We'll take a look at them on Google Earth. But salt harvesting, farming, mining. Can you mine from water? I don't know. It's been occurring here for thousands of years. It is still ongoing. The other thing that Aveiro is really known for in ancient history were its monasteries, and in particular the nunnery of Saint Joanna. So of course her name was probably Joanna, right? She was a princess and heir apparent for a hot minute until a younger brother was born, and she was no longer considered eligible for the throne, so she decided to become a nun and moved here to Aveiro, where she's now known as Saint Joanna. So that monastery where she lived, or nunnery, right, where she lived, is very important to the locals here. But there's also quite a few other monasteries in the area as well. It just seemed a very popular spot, nice, quiet, out of the way, just people harvesting salt, minding their own business. So it was a nice, calming place by the sea where people could study and practice Christianity. However, that salt industry would take a very large hit in 1575 when a huge storm hit the coast of Portugal and actually formed a lagoon here. It silted up the region here, creating this big strip of land, and blocked off Aveiro's access to the sea, and kind of ruined the town in general after this huge storm. And this reef greatly damaged the entire industry of the whole city and really threw it into decline, and it would stay there until 1808, when the artificial canals that are built throughout the city were finished. and it became much easier to transport things out to the sea here or further inland via these canals. And Aveiro was given the nickname the Venice of Portugal. I feel like I need to collect the Venice of blank places because it seems like there are far too many places that are the Venice of that region. But Aveiro is the Venice of Portugal. And they've since really capitalized on that with tourism in the region. As we'll see on Google Earth in a minute, they have big gondolas and Venetian-style bridges over the canals to make it look a little bit more like Venice. But it's really all for the tourists. And for the most part, that is all that I have for you about Aveiro. Which, like I said, short but sweet and a little salty. But there are some fun things to show you over on Google Earth, so why don't we head over there? Here we are in Aveiro district. Let me zoom out so you can see just exactly where we are in the world. If you're not quite sure where Portugal is located, you can see I have my pencil this time. The last France video I did, I lost my pencil when I turned off my lights. But this is known as the Iberian Peninsula, which is pretty much Spain and Portugal, I guess Andorra technically, but not really. It's pretty inland. There's the rest of Western Europe, the Atlantic Ocean here, along Aveiro's coast. And as we zoom in, you can really see this lagoon, not nearly as pronounced as it is on my map, because this whole part here that's all mushy wet is pretty dark, isn't it? All of this very rich soaked land. You can see some salt farms there, but the big ones are over here. Look at all these salt pans. Here we can see the Salinas de Aveiro, which I'm probably mispronouncing because my Portuguese is absolutely wretched, so apologies for any Portuguese. I have so many wonderful Brazilian viewers who gladly help out with Portuguese, so if anything I mispronounce is horribly wrong, they'll definitely let you know the correct pronunciations down in the comments. Obrigado, Brazilian viewers. But yeah, look at all of these big fields of water drying out, leaving behind all of the salt, all the sea salt, which of course was so important back in the day to preserve food, to flavor food, etc. It's a big pretty out there, the Portuguese flag. Little water bird there enjoying the salt flats. There's one of the gondolas. We'll see a lot more in a minute, probably. And look at this lady lying in the salt. Is that a thing? I wonder if that's good for your skin, just pure sea salt all over you. It's a little weird. But you can see a big canal right there. Let's look at the Aveiro Museum. Isn't this beautiful? This has to be in the old monastery. I think this is the St. Joanna monastery, I guess. It's a princess. Beautiful old fountain here. The big, beautiful, I guess, shrine. I'm not sure what they call it, Catholicism, those corners that's all decorated. But very lovely, isn't it? Big organ there. And old seats there, I guess, to listen to sermons or to study, maybe. An old car, I guess. Pretty cool museum. Got a little bit of everything, but oh, look at these beautiful tiles. Blue, intricate tile work. Very, very Portuguese. That's a very Portuguese thing. Yeah, it seems like they've got little bits from all parts of history, but mostly from the monastic past, right? I think that must be St. Joanna right there, right? I would assume so. I think what I have to do to get you pictures of the gondolas is to zoom out, so I just highlight the name Aveiro. There we go. That's a slideshow I want to see. So yes, beautiful bridges and the big gondolas, really just there to cart tourists around. It's not like the locals use them to get around the city. And on a lot of these bridges, the tourists will come and attach wishes to the bridges through ribbons, which is very sweet, isn't it? Big, big canals going through all the main parts of the city. You can see all the ribbons. Isn't that neat? All of them a wish. Or maybe a declaration of love or something like that. Now these to me don't look at all like the gondolas in Venice, right? Aren't they like way smaller? And then you have a gondolier with a big pole, like, you know what I mean? They're not nearly this big, are they? I've never even been to Italy, so I can't tell you, but I did ride a gondola at the Venetian in Las Vegas, and it just fit me and my sister. It's very small. It's very fun. So yeah, I guess that's just the tourist version of the Venetian gondola. Can see how far this lagoon goes all the way down, and then along here are the beaches, which Portugal is so widely known for its luxurious beaches. You can see more farmland here along the lagoon. Lots of big fields here. Let's find a beach. What's that? Gotta at least find one beach. I don't think that's a beach. Aveiro, the lighthouse. Not a very exciting slideshow, to be honest. There's a Jacinto Reserve. Guessing it's the wetlands. Oh yeah, I saw this slideshow. It's really pretty. The beautiful sand dunes there. You can see some of the more marshy, grassy areas here along the lagoon. All silted up from that one big storm. It must have been a doozy, right? We need a beach. Where is the playa? Give me a beach. Oop, what's that? Here we go. We found one. Gorgeous. I love beaches. I love the ocean. Especially big old sandy beaches like this. These are the best kind of beaches because you can really relax on them. The rocky beaches, the cold beaches, not as fun, although I'm sure this water is quite cold. I guess you have that Gulf Stream current kind of affecting this area, but it's more north, so I'm sure the water's cold, but it's not like freezing cold, I guess. I don't know. I would not know. Maybe my Portuguese viewers can tell me. Oh, also I meant to note that we're pretty much between Porto and Coimbra there. There's Lisbon down there at the capital. Porto is where Portugal gets its name from, and where port wine gets its name from. So we're just south of Porto. Let me get the borders back up here. There we go. So we don't get lost. I can show you some of this pretty countryside here. Not a lot of great slideshows, to be honest. There's a museum here. I don't think I saw that before. There is a little museum. Oh, it's because it's a train museum. Ferroviario. Still interesting. You know. But I have to find the one that I really want to show you. That's so cool. Guess I gotta get the borders back up. Just so I don't get lost in Portugal. Not that that's the worst fate ever. It's somewhere up here in the mountains. Can you see the mountain range here? Kind of slicing the district in half. So the northern mesetas. There's of course the southern mesetas. Down in the south. let's see, here it is. The Museum of the Trilobites. And I said, maybe I'm reading that wrong, but there's a field trip. Sure enough, it's a museum of trilobites, which I guess makes sense that this area was once so deeply underwater that it was infested with these trilobites. Look at all of them. Because, we're so close to the ocean here as it is. Surely it wasn't too terribly long ago in Earth's history that this was all under the ocean, right? You can learn all about the trilobites here. There's a big horseshoe crab. I don't know, I think they're kind of creepy. But I guess trilobites even more so if they were still around, right? They're all gone. At least what we know, because who knows what lies at the bottom of the ocean. Look at this big guy. Like, what would you do if you saw that swimming toward you? I'd probably cry. Some archaeological stuff there too, I suppose. A fossil museum. How cool is that? That's really neat. I did not expect to find a fossil museum out here in the mountains of Portugal, but here we are. I think that was the best find that I found, but why don't we find one more slideshow to look at? How about this waterfall? Cascata. Very pretty. It's not in the right region though. See, I told you we were gonna get lost. There we go. Let's find one more slideshow. No, it says it is. I was right. I wasn't lost at all. Just loneless. So let's look at this beautiful waterfall here in this gorgeous forest here in the mountains while I close out the video. Oh, pretty. Oh my gosh. Thank you so much for watching. Is that a wolf or a dog? I don't know. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this style of content, please consider subscribing. This is an ongoing series on my channel, and next we are going to a landscape that's completely different from this. We are going to a barren, rocky desert in Somalia. Or is it Somalia? You'll have to watch and find out just what I'm talking about. It's kind of Schrödinger Somalia. It is and isn't Somalia. So be sure to subscribe so you won't miss out. I hope that you found this video to be relaxing and educational. Wow, imagine the sound that makes. And I hope that you have a good night. Good night.